ever put money again before we take to think of all the demands of government.
Yo, today is Friday, September 16th, 2022. Welcome to Simply Bitcoin. We are your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We cover the breaking news, culture, memetic warfare. We'll show you why only Bitcoin can give you true financial sovereignty. And when we say that, we mean freedom. Today we have a very special show. We're going to talk about, of course, and Opti actually mentioned this to me before the show, the White House picked Friday to release a report, the much anticipated digital asset framework. They waited till Friday so they wouldn't have the week of, crazy people reacting to it. We're going to break it down, and clearly they have a goal here. We're going to talk about that, but first I want to introduce my awesome guest, the one, the only, Hodl Tarantula. How you doing, buddy?
I'm blessed, sir. Thank you for having me on the show. I really do appreciate it. I love what you guys do.
Thanks for joining us, brother. And of course, my legendary co-host. He's optimist. He's always optimistic.
Nico? What's up? Actually, what's up, Tarantula? How you doing, dog? But yeah, Nico. All right, guys.
Nico, man.
Hey, what's up, dog? Nico hit me to this idea that the powers that be drop the sauce every Friday, and like without miss, ever since he told me this, every Friday you get a new article over the weekend, and like guys, once you start paying attention to this, it's really like you can't not miss it. It's absolutely insane that this like we caught their playbook. We caught the playbook. Anyways, Nico, let's get into this.
What are we covering on the culture?
Oh yeah. So I know you guys heard about the merge and the Greenpeace telling us to change the code and all this. Well, we're going to lightly touch on it, but really we're going to tell you guys why you need to use a node. This is what the culture is about. Running a node, not just running a node, but using a node, and why I ain't changing the code.
Oh, yeah. Man. All right, guys, let's get to the numbers. Let's do this. Number time. Brought to you by NODL. At this point, you should be running your own Bitcoin node. If you don't use your own Bitcoin node, you're trusting someone else's. Run your own version of Bitcoin Core, the Lightning Network, Whirlpool, and Dojo, all from the comfort of your own home. And if you're a digital nomad, you have absolutely no excuse, because now you can run a NODL through a virtual private server. Visit nodl.eu today. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is $19,568. Holy crap, it's under 20K. Pause the show right now. If you're on Twitter Spaces, you have two hands. Stack some sats. Do it right now, preferably on swanbitcoin.com. Stop what you're doing right now and buy some cheap Bitcoin under 20,000. Anyway, sats per dollar, 5,110. Block height, 754,372. Reachable Bitcoin nodes, 13,402. Blocks to the halving, 85,628. Halving, estimate April 22nd, 2024. Total Lightning Network capacity, 4,778 Bitcoin. Estimated fiat value, 93 million US dollars. Realized monetary inflation, Bitcoin taking the US dollar absolutely to school, 1.78%. Market capitalization, Bitcoin still a baby, $375 billion with a B. Anyways, I want to react to this video that dropped yesterday. This is Samson Mao. He is taking care of incepting nation states adopting Bitcoin. So shout out to Samson, very noble cause. But check this out. This is Vitalik, and they asked him why Ethereum is switching to proof of stake, and let's see what he says. I'll just say this, guys. I'll preface this, right? Usually when people start ignoring the laws of physics, bad things happen. We've had so many countless examples in the last century of people trying to build utopias, and that leading to thousands, millions of human deaths. Anyways, I'll say that, and let's check out what Emperor Chairman Vitalik has to say.
So I think, like, to summarize, one of the ways that I think about this in a more philosophical way is like proof of work is based on the laws of physics, and so you sort of have to work with the world as it is, right? You have to work with, electricity as it is, hardware as it is, what computers are as it is. Whereas because proof of stake is virtualized in this way, it's basically letting us create a simulated universe that has its own laws of physics. And that just gives us as protocol developers a lot more freedom to optimize the system around actually having all of the different security properties that we want, right? And if we want the system to have a particular security guarantee, and then like often there is a way to modify the proof of stake mechanism to also achieve it. So it's just much more flexible, and it shows through in the efficiency and the security of the network.
That's right. God King Vitalik has figured out how to change the laws of the universe to make a perfect money.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit of a history junkie. Mao, Stalin, so many examples of the quest for perfection and this thinking that you could mold humanity the way that you see it fit. I'm seeing a lot of those types. I'm seeing a lot of that hubris in there. It scares the living crap out of me. And I think it's always going to end. It's going to end like all of this ends. It's going to end in disaster. And again, I think this is central planning at its finest, bro. Like, it's crazy. I, Vitalik, have figured out how to bend the laws of physics. Anyways, that's insane. Hodo Tarantula, how do you feel about that from the perspective of a savage miner?
So okay. So from here's a perspective from somebody who just appreciates, liberty and freedom. He talks about security and flexibility. Well, in the past, I'd like to quote Benjamin Franklin when he said, "Those who are willing to trade, security, their freedom for securities, they deserve neither." And that's exactly what he's proposing to do going forward with his protocols and his caca coins, his little shitcoin charade that he's playing. I mean, it's absolutely insane. He's just basically admitted that this is the US dollar 2.0 fiat legacy system. There's gatekeeping galore, and it is at the whim of what we, God King Vitalik and his buddies think is going to be the right call for you and what they think is best for you and your money. And the audacity of him to quote a security as being another feature is absolutely ludicrous, because if you look at all the security failures and flaws that horrible system has experienced and how many rug pulls and other hacks have gone on, it is absolutely the most insecure thing around when it comes to standing next to Bitcoin. It's just absolutely absurd. I don't entertain people like him at all usually, just because this is what you got,
Yeah, 100%. And just kind of going back to the laws of physics, right? The laws of physics is kind of what protects you in Bitcoin, right? It's a feature, not a bug. They're taking all of that out, and they
absolutely. You got.
Go ahead.
You're right, 100%. When you're competing with the laws of thermodynamics, you can't cut corners. We absolutely must find out the most efficient way to do everything so that we can be successful in our endeavors. And with their proposed system, it's just full of waste and want, and it's just an absolute. I'll just call it an abomination to humanity.
100%. Opti, what are your thoughts on that video, man?
Well, I mean, this is just absolutely insane. Like, I don't know how people can hear this and be like, yep, like, this is the way. Like, this is where I want to invest my money. As you said it, bro, ignore the laws of physics at your own peril. I am perfectly comfortable abiding by the natural laws of nature because that's just what I do. Like, this is how I came up with the whole Optimus Fields thing. It's like, I just look at the natural laws and I abide by them. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. And this is what proof of work allows us to do. And as a Tarantula said, you know, like, this is why proof of work is so important, is because you can't fake the funk. Like, you can't fake the laws of nature. There's no going around the laws of physics. Like, this is why proof of stake is absolute trash. This is why Ethereum is just like make-believe, unicorn land type level utopian dreams. It's just like, it's insane. I can't believe that people are listening to the God Emperor, crypto king, shitcoin king, Vitalik, and thinking like, yes, this is awesome. Proof of stake is going to create its own laws of physics. Like, it's absolutely insane clown world level type thinking. People are nuts if they see this and still put their money in it. It's insane. It's so nuts. It's absolutely insane to me, Nico.
100%.
Still the mother asshole of all fucking utopias.
Yeah, man. And like, this type of thinking is what has gotten the world to where it's at today, right? There's a group of people, right, that fundamentally believe that they can run your life better than you can run yourself, right? Run it yourself. And that's what led to Europe's energy crisis. That's what led to, you know, they stopped developing nuclear energy and they went down this path of unreliable renewables, right? Again, I'm not trying to bash renewables, but the public was sold that renewable energy in its current state could replace fossil fuels. And there's been catastrophic events to that, whether that is the lack of grid stability, whether that is the complete explosion of energy prices, right? They straight up lied. And the reason for that is that they fundamentally believe.
Look at lithium and cobalt fucking mining. I mean, you look at some of the shit you got to do to get the minerals and the ores to produce some of the products that are involved with the renewable energy sector, and you're absolutely decimating and destroying the environmentals around that production. It's like horrid. And then, you know, you got still countries where there's child slave labor going on involved with a lot of these places. It's just sick. And the thing is there are renewable energy technologies. Like there's a couple guys in Hawaii working on utilizing tidal currents and everything and whatnot. And these are pretty viable and don't require things that might necessarily, you know, cause total destruction of the outer land environment around it.
Hydro is great. Hydro is great.
Hydro
is great because it's
no. That's the thing. Like,
yeah,
it's turned into a damn money grab on carbon credits, and it's just a joke. It's like you take away this stuff from any of these companies and they will bankrupt themselves in a year and fail.
100%. Yeah. Without the money printer, none of this stuff is viable. Anyways, let's get to the news. Very damning report today. Let's check it out.
The Daily News.
Brought to you by CryptoCloaks.com. They make the best 3D printed Bitcoin merch in the game. From custom node cases to key rings to the famous 3D printed Bitcoin grenade toy. Comes in any custom color your heart desires. You want it in gold, they make it in gold, but only on CryptoCloaks.com. All right, everybody. First of all, I want to start with this quote from a must-read book for Bitcoiners called The Sovereign Individual. Definitely check it out. It says, since it will be obvious that information technologies facilitate the escape of sovereign individuals from the power of the state, the reaction to the collapse of compulsion will also include a neo-Luddite attack on these new technologies and those who use them. That being said, let's check out the report that came out today, conveniently on a Friday, by the Biden White House. It says fact sheet, right? Remember, the government is the all-being. They are the masters of facts. If it doesn't come from the government, it is disinformation. Anyways, and that was sarcasm. What White House released first ever comprehensive framework for responsible development of digital assets. Remember, if the government doesn't approve of it, it is irresponsible. Anyways, President Biden March 9th executive order on ensuring responsible development of digital assets outlined the first whole of government approach to addressing the risks and harnessing the potential benefits of digital assets and their underlying technology. Over the past 6 months, agencies across the government have worked together to develop frameworks and policy recommendations that advance the 6 key priorities identified in the EO. consumer and investor protection, promoting financial stability, countering illicit finance, U.S. leadership in the global financial system, and economic competitiveness, financial inclusion, and responsible innovation. All right, it's not bad. Sounds all right. The devil's always in the details. First part I highlighted says the reports encourage regulators like the Securities and Exchange Commission and Commodities Future Trading Commission, consistent with their mandates, to aggressively pursue investigations and enforcement actions against unlawful practices in the digital asset space. The Financial Literacy Education Commission will lead public awareness efforts to help consumers understand the risks involved with digital assets. So, risks for who? Risks for who? Because the people that are responsible for regulating, and they can't regulate Bitcoin, but they sure could regulate the hell out of on and off ramps, are also the people that stand to most to lose if Bitcoin is successful. The power that governments have come from their ability, their monopoly to create money that everybody else has to work for. So the government makes it for free and you have to work for it. Bitcoin is a threat to that. Bitcoin says, as much as they call it a private currency, that's a fucking lie. Bitcoin, anyone can create Bitcoin, but you have to plug in a miner, you have to spend money on a miner, and you can make yourself some Bitcoin. You can earn some Bitcoin. So who's it a risk to exactly? You can make the argument that, they're talking about the shitcoins. But as we saw with the report that came out on I think it was on Tuesday. I think it was this one, right? Climate and energy implications of crypto assets in the United States. In this specific one, they were actually attacking Bitcoin for its energy usage. And they were advocating for coins like proof of stake, which proof of stake conveniently they can control. So going back to this paragraph, risk to who? Is it risk to them or it risk to the people? I'd like to make the argument that Bitcoin is in fact a threat to the way that nation states operate today. But it is incredibly empowering for the individuals of those said nation states. Anyways, today traditional finance leaves too many behind. 7 million Americans have no bank account. Another 24 million rely on costly non-bank services like check cashing and money orders for everyday needs. And for those who do use banks, paying with traditional financial infrastructure can be costly and slow, particularly for cross-border payments. Bitcoin fixes all of this. The problem is that Bitcoin not only disintermediates those banks, the problem is that Bitcoin not only disintermediates the money transmitters. The reason that they care about this now and they're focusing about it is because Bitcoin also disintermediates them. The digital economy should work for all Americans. That means developing financial services that are secure, reliable, affordable, and accessible to all. To make payments more efficient, the Federal Reserve has planned the 2023 launch of FedNow, an instantaneous 24/7 interbank clearing system that will further advance nationwide infrastructure for instant payments alongside the clearinghouse's real-time payment system. Some digital assets could help facilitate faster payments and make financial services more accessible, but more work is needed to ensure they truly benefit underserved consumers and do not lead to predatory financial practices. You know what's a predatory financial practice? When you debase the currency. And none of that talks about fixing that fundamental problem. You want to know why? Because they can't do that. They will never be able to replace Bitcoin's incentives. They won't be able to do it. What are those two? The things that governments care about the most. We want to control the money and we want to debase the money. So you want to talk about underserved consumers. Stop printing. But you can't do that because if you stop printing, you can't pay yourself. This is what Bitcoin will eventually expose. You guys, when I say that, I mean the government, are addicted to printing money. And the lower and middle class that don't have the means to save in assets that benefit from asset inflation get screwed. They get poorer. If you are not making 15% more than you were making last year in terms of fiat, you are poorer. And whose fault is that? It wasn't the pandemic. It wasn't Putin. It wasn't that. They printed too much money. And this thing doesn't say that. It conveniently leaves it out. This is not about making payments more convenient. There's Venmo, there's Cash App, there's Zelle. It's quick, it's instantaneous. The fundamental problem, though, is that you're still being stolen from by inflation. Anyways, agencies will encourage the adoption of instant payment systems like FedNow by supporting the development and use of innovative technologies by payment providers to increase access to those instant payments using instant payment systems for their own transactions. I don't know how that fixes anything. The president will also consider agency recommendations, create a federal framework to regulate non-payment providers. What does that mean? Anyways, agencies will prioritize efforts to improve the efficiency of cross-border payments by working to align global payment practices, regulations, and supervision protocols while exploring new multilateral platforms. The National Science Foundation will back research in technical and socio-technical disciplines and behavioral economics to ensure that digital asset ecosystems are designed to be usable, inclusive, equitable, and accessed by all. Guys, you know what? I think the Bitcoin white paper is shorter than this entire fucking report. Anyways, digital assets, and that says a lot. Digital assets in the mainstream financial system are becoming increasingly intertwined, creating channels for turmoil to have spillover effects, stablecoins in particular. See, this is what I've kept telling you. They're going to use what is happening with the shitcoins and the frauds in the shitcoins as an excuse to attack Bitcoin, and that's exactly what's happening. Anyways, U.S. companies led the world in innovation. Digital asset firms are no exception. As of 2022, the United States is home to roughly half of the world's 100 most valuable financial technology companies, many of which trade in digital assets. The U.S. government has long played a critical role in primed responsible private sector innovation. No, it has not. Get out of the way. The U.S. government doesn't create things. It takes things. The Office of Science and Technology Policy and the NSF will develop a digital assets research and develop an agenda to kickstart fundamental research on topics such as next-generational cryptography, transaction programmability, cybersecurity, privacy protections, and ways to mitigate the environmental impacts of digital assets. The Department of Energy, the EPA agency, and other agencies will consider further tracking digital asset environmental impacts, developing performance standards. Remember what Elizabeth Warren did? She sent a letter to the mining companies asking them to track their environmental harm, right? And this is why the Supreme Court, West Virginia versus the EPA, was so consequential. And we actually got a favorable ruling. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of West Virginia, saying the EPA has no authority. So they clearly use the EPA as a mechanism to go after their political opponents. U.S. agencies will leverage U.S. positions and international organizations to message U.S. values related to digital assets. You know what digital asset has U.S. values ingrained in it? Bitcoin. But why can't they talk about it? Because it takes power away from them. Anyways, moving on. The State Department, Treasury, U.S. aid, and other agencies will explore further technical assistance developing countries building out digital assets, infrastructure, and services. They want to help developing countries. Remember the United Nations report. They want to help developing countries not opt out and go into Bitcoin like what is happening in El Salvador. No, they want developing countries under the heel of central bank digital currencies of which they can control. Anyways, goes on to say, and here's another piece of signal. For example, digital assets have facilitated the rise of ransomware cyber criminals, narcotic sales, and money laundering for drug trafficking organizations, and the funding of activities of rogue regimes, as was the case in the recent deaths by the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. Now, why did I highlight that? That was the excuse that the U.S. Treasury used to sanction open source software. This was it. And they included it in the White House report. That's some signal right there. It is the national interest to mitigate these risks through regulation, oversight, law enforcement action, and the use of other United States government authorities to fight the illicit use of digital assets. More effectively, the administration plans to take the following steps. Amend the Bank Secrecy Act, anti-tip-off statutes, and the laws against unlicensed money transmitting to apply explicitly to digital asset service providers. Do they want people to get licenses to transmit money? Anyways, raise the penalties for unlicensed money transmitting to match the penalties for similar crimes under other money laundering statutes and to amend relevant federal statutes. Continue to expose disrupt illicit actors, and address the digital abuse of digital assets. Such actions will hold cyber criminals and other malign actors responsible for their illicit activity, check this out, and identify nodes in the ecosystem that pose national security risk. When OFAC compliant Ethereum nodes, when OFAC compliant Bitcoin nodes. Look at the fucking language here. Anyways, Treasury will enhance dialogue with the private sector to ensure that the firms understand existing obligations and illicit financing risks associated with digital assets, share information, and encourage the use of emerging technologies to comply with obligations. Holy crap. And at the end, of course, a US CBDC, a digital form of the US dollar, has the potential to offer significant benefits. It could enable a payment system that is more efficient, provides a foundation for further technological innovation, facilitates faster cross-border transactions, environmentally sustainable. It could promote financial inclusion and equity by enabling access for a broader set of consumers, support the effects of sanctions. There you go. But a central bank digital currency could also have unintended consequences, including runs to central bank digital currencies in times of stress. That is the unintended consequences that they're mentioning. They're not mentioning the tyrannical power that will give governments. It's not mentioned in the report. Bitcoin solves all the problems they laid out in the beginning. It solves them all. But they didn't mention them. Why? Because it makes them obsolete. If implemented, should protect consumers, protect economic growth, improve payment systems, provide interoperability with other platforms, advance financial inclusion, protect national security, respect human rights, and align with democratic values. Bitcoin ain't democratic. Anyways, moving on to this, right? They mentioned sustainability a bunch of times. You know what also mentions sustainability? The World Economic Forum front page about the Ethereum merge, and there you go. It says it could be a sea change towards sustainability for the cryptocurrency industry. This is a tweet by Digiconomist. Digiconomist was the main source the White House used in this page, climate and energy implications of crypto assets in the United States. Digiconomist was the main source. This is what they had to say about Ethereum and the merge. Ethereum has just ended its environmentally harmful proof of work mining. The network's electric power demand is likely reduced by 99.98%, which comes down to possibly as much as a country like Austria requires. CO2 savings may equal global CO2 reduction by EVs when Bitcoin. So the White House used a source that is obviously biased. They also used the same wording as the World Economic Forum. And they included in that report, the same report, that the Treasury justified sanctioning open source software. Do you understand what part of the movie you are in? This is the separation of money and state. We haven't even got into the clash yet, but you're witnessing it in slow motion. And they waited until Friday to release the report because they knew that people would be heading into the weekend. They wouldn't have a chance to report to follow up to it. Unfortunately for them, Simply Bitcoin never misses this shit. And tomorrow, Nick Carter did a great job at debunking the initial White House report, and we're going to take the time to go through all their bullshit and call it out for what it is. It's propaganda and spin. And why are they doing this? Because they're scared. Bitcoin is disintermediating them. And now, for the first time, if you're an average Joe, you can escape from the claws of inflation. And they are going to have to answer for it. But they're going to try to use Bitcoin breaks U.S. sanctioned policy, and Bitcoin is environmentally damaging. Those are the two attacks, and they're going to continue to push proof of stake, because who are the biggest stakers in Ethereum? Exchanges. It's a lot easier for the government to capture a handful of exchanges than convince tens of thousands of people to download OFAC compliant Bitcoin node software. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. But I mean, what did you expect? And here's the thing, before you say this is a partisan thing, no, it's not. The Republicans, specifically Donald Trump, has said specifically that he doesn't like Bitcoin. It's the same problem. Status gonna state. Status is gonna hate Bitcoin. It disintermediates them. It takes power away from them. So that's why they're reacting the way they're reacting. Anyways, this type of stuff is important that we call out. You have to read it. You have to arm yourself with the truth, with the knowledge, so that if you're in a discussion with that uncle that just reads the propaganda media, you know what to tell him. You know it's bullshit. Anyways, Opti, what are your thoughts? And then we'll get Hodl Tarantula on this. Hodl Tarantula is a miner, so this does apply to him, brother. They're coming after your S9s, man.
Well, first off, go off, King. Nico Jones on the case. Let's go. This is the content people love to see. And then just to get into what we're talking about here. I really love that the Ministry of Truth is giving us the official fact sheets so that we can debunk them, you know. And then first off, I am starting to get a cringe moment, a cringe feel every time I hear digital assets. It's becoming a buzzword catch-all term for nothing. And every time I hear digital assets, it's just like, okay, like we know where their framing's coming from. We know like what they're trying to do, and they're trying to co-opt the term here. And second, this is the first thing I read this morning. And again, it's very interesting to see the framing that they want to clamp down on Bitcoin via regulation. You know, they're calling us money launderers, financial terrorists, and the funniest of them all, that pseudonymous currencies like Bitcoin. They didn't say Bitcoin, obviously, omitting the word Bitcoin, but we know what they're talking about. Again, the funniest part of it, funding weapons of mass destruction. Absolute lol. Like, I can't believe they're hitting us with 9/11 level propagandas. It's absolutely ridiculous. And of course, thirdly, it wouldn't be a report by the powers that be if they didn't push for CBDCs at the end of this, the digital asset of their choice. It's very obvious the state hates you guys. You know, it's very obvious that we are entering in the then they fight you stage. And their bias is showing, and it's very obvious to us paying attention. And again, like Nico pointed out to me, the fact that they dropped this on Friday, they just hoped that this would go away. But Nico Jones on the case, Simply Bitcoin on the case, and this is why we do this. So we counter all of this bullshit. Like, we know where they're coming from. The level of propaganda here, as I believe Nico said it in the past, like we have Soviet level propaganda going on against us, and it's absolutely insane that the powers of be have been corrupted so much. You know, absolute power corrupts, and they're just doubling down on the ridiculousness. So this is why we do what we do, because someone's got to counter this stuff, or else they are bought and paid for. Like, there's no more journalists out here except for the few out here like me and Nico having to cover all this ridiculous stuff. Anyways, I want to hear Tarantula's take. I know we're gonna get a hot take for sure.
Man, it sounds like it's time to go plug in some more ASICs. Straight up. And every time to get your OPSEC game up and work on your VPNs, your mesh networks, and satellite systems, and make way for the pleb army. Because if they think they're going to stop this train, they're absolutely insane. It's not going to happen. Bitcoin, has survived this long. What this is just, I believe it's a FUD grab by them. You're going to have another administration come in some years, and we'll see which way they go. This will be, obviously being driven by, central bankers behind the scenes, because they're the ones who have the most to lose here. And so the thing is I'm not willing to lose my ability to, use Bitcoin and have, the opportunities to chase my own freedom. It's, but that's what they're trying to take from us. And so my advice to everybody is, like I said, learn operational security, learn VPNs, learn how to protect yourself in the online world, so that you can be prepared for, like what Nico said, they're going to want to come for your stuff, potentially, if they deem you to be a threat. And so, with that, the only thing you can do is prepare yourself. So that's what I would do. That's what I am doing, and that's what I would suggest others to do.
It's going to come to a head where you have to ask yourself as an individual, because you're doing nothing wrong, is, am I entitled to keep all of what I make? I'm not talking about taxes, right? I'm talking about the hidden tax of inflation, right? Are you entitled? Do you have to suffer through that? Is that something that you signed up for? When they print money to pay for weapons to send to Ukraine, they don't got the money for that. They have to print it. The U.S. government has a deficit every single year. They spend more money than they take in taxes. Why? Why? Right? Especially if you're on the lower and the middle class. Did you sign up for that? Is that something you agreed to? Because
Hey, I didn't agree to inflated property taxes because the damn money system got fucked up, man. It's like there's so many different ways that you are paying out your backside. I mean, even if you own an asset and it's valued higher because of inflation, now your tax on that is going to be higher. That hidden tax of inflation is far-reaching, and it is designed to destroy you. You don't have to be a part of that system anymore.
yeah, it's ridiculous. All they have to do is get out of the way. That's all they have to do. If they're really concerned, if the U.S. government, the Biden White House is really concerned about the people that are not initiated into the financial system, the people that have been hurt the most, if they're concerned about this, financial scam, what they really have to do is they have to stop printing money. But they won't do that because that is how they pay themselves. And what Bitcoin always does, it exposes their incentives. It shines a light of truth on that, and they can't take it. So what are they doing? They're doing all this mental gymnastics to justify a new system. It's not as good as Bitcoin, but that new system ensures that they survive, right? That's what this is about. Now, does this mean that we're anti-government, anti-this, we're anti-that? No, we're not saying any of that. What we're saying is that, dude, we're anti-fucking theft. We pay our taxes. Why do we have to pay this shit too, man? This is insane. 9% of which they caused because they printed too much money. Enough is enough. Opt out, join the peaceful revolution, and all you have to do that, stack yourself some Bitcoin, either by mining it, earning it, or buying it, and take that into self-custody. Anyways, Opti, let's get to the culture.
Yeah, question.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit SwanBitcoin.com today. I want to give a shout out to Pacific Bitcoin. It's going to be the largest Bitcoin conference on the West Coast, November 10th through 11th, Los Angeles, California. Speaker list includes Corey Clipston, Alex Epstein, Michael Saylor. That's right, he just confirmed. Jeff Booth, Dylan LeClaire, Guy Swan, Mark Moss, Parker Lewis, Dr. Jeff Ross, Pete Ruzzo, and many, many more. Opti and I are going to be doing a Simply Bitcoin show from Pacific Bitcoin. You're not going to want to miss it. You could take advantage of the promo code down below, Simply, to get a huge discount on your Pacific Bitcoin tickets.
All right, guys. Well, Nico thoroughly destroyed the White House article this morning. And you know me, I'm the culture guy here. So I'm not going to debunk this Greenpeace change the code garbage movement that they're trying to push on us. I am here to explain one simple reason why we run nodes. So let me get into this, guys, so you guys can get the context of what's going on. But Greenpeace USA is bought and paid, and look at them. The long-awaited Ethereum merge is here. The world's second largest shitcoin now uses 99.95% less energy, dramatically cutting its climate pollution. Now it's time for for Bitcoin to change. Read our statement with Clean Up Bitcoin. Change the code. And I'm not going to debunk this. Maybe Nico wants to debunk it later, but just look at the headlines. Climate groups to Bitcoin, cut the pollution and the BS. And they're telling us to, change the code like Ethereum and go proof of stake. And they're even dropping videos that change the code, and they're going hard on telling us to change the code, that we need to, make Bitcoin more green. And without having to go in the whole 9 yards and debunking all the BS, because it's out there. Saylor just dropped this article, Bitcoin mining in the environment, putting all the receipts out there that Bitcoin runs on stranded excess energy, that Bitcoin mining is the most efficient, cleanest industry, period, that Bitcoin is quite beneficial to the environment, that Bitcoin is an instrument of economic empowerment. It doesn't matter. And as Nico put out, or we can debunk the White House articles like Carter does here, or we can have threads on why Bitcoin will become carbon and not just carbon neutral, but it doesn't matter because they don't care. And because it's not the message and the narrative and the propaganda that they want to push, because as Nico so eloquently put in this tweet, it says you don't need millions of dollars to change the code. You can fork Bitcoin for free, but that's never what they wanted. They want to force you to run software that only they approve of, and it's always been about control. Period, full stop. As we said before, and as I like to quote all the time, as Christine Lagarde, head of the ECB and also a criminal, says, if there's an exit door, then people will use it. So what are they doing? They're trying to stop the exit door because, as Adam Back says so well in this tweet, Bitcoin is self-sovereignty, modern free man, a positive message of hope for humanity, economic growth, power abundance paid for by private enterprise via economic incentives, separates money from state versus proof of stake, a neo-feudal serfs and to digital fiefdoms ruled by pre-mine lords, digital dark ages accelerated by corporate-controlled pre-mine money. So anyone pushing proof of stake is literally anti-human in my opinion. And I really love how Durgigi puts this in this quote, in this tweet right here. He goes, cars charged by electricity good, sound money supercharged by electricity bad, the optical illusion of public opinion. Guys, their propaganda narratives are so ass backwards that on the one hand they'll push electric cars and on the other hand they'll say that electric money, Bitcoin, is bad. And furthermore, even if we do go into the nitty gritty and try to debunk this ridiculous article, I really love how Dan Darkpill puts it. He goes, 58 people who wielded influence signed the New York agreement and couldn't make a relatively minor change to Bitcoin. But according to Greenpeace, 30 people could change Bitcoin to proof of stake and will be persuaded to do so by $1 million of internet ads. They are conflating crypto with Bitcoin. And furthermore, as one of my favorite accounts on Twitter says, Bitcoin's the savings. We're not changing the code, lol. And I really love how Kelly Lannon puts it here. He's like, when asked about changing the code, my node was not available for comment. Guys, this is the crux of the situation. This is why we tell you guys all the time, not just to run a node, but to use a node. Because you need to ensure that you pick the rules for yourself, that you use a node, that you verify the transaction from the Genesis block so that you do not get hoodwinked by these freaking kleptocrats out there. They want you to run software that they approve because they don't want you to have freedom money. So what are we going to do? We're going to use our own Bitcoin nodes. It doesn't matter how you do it. And I'm just going to plug just Bitcoin Core, period, guys. It's the lowest common denominator for everyone. If you have a laptop, download Bitcoin Core, do the initial block download, get all your transactions verified from the Genesis block, because these people do not want you to have freedom money, and it's becoming very obvious every single day, their narrative and their confirmation bias and where they want you. They want you enslaved for the rest of your humanity. They want you completely bending the knee. They want to put their neck on, or their foot on your neck, so that you are completely enslaved in their fiat system. And as we covered in the news section, even the White House is pushing CBDCs on you guys. So what are we going to do? We're going to use a node, not just run a node, use a node to verify your own transactions, connect a node to your Bitcoin wallets, to your software, or just run Bitcoin Core, whatever means you have, however you want to do it. It is up to you. This is an individual revolution. But the fact of the matter is, choose your own rules and stop listening to these authoritarians. Run a node, use a node, verify your transaction. This is why we do what we do, because these people are absolutely insane. They're freaking drunk on power, and they want you completely controlled and bagged. So you're going to run a node. You're going to use a node to verify your transactions, because I am not changing the code. Come after all of us. The more people running Bitcoin Core, the more people using nodes, the less power they have out here. This is your power, guys, to use a node, verify your transactions, because they want to control you. They want your transactions controlled, tagged, and bagged. This is why the powers that be are pushing proof of stake so hard. It's because there's a small cabal of shitcoin influencers that can mess with the code. They can't do that with Bitcoin. Feature, not a bug. This is what differentiates Bitcoin from all the other shitcoins. And this is why the World Economic Forum and all the legacy media is pushing for the Ethereum merge and proof of stake. Is because they know what we know. There is an exit door, and it is Bitcoin. And part of that sovereignty tool is using a node and taking your Bitcoin into self-custody. This is the revolution. End of rant. Nico, jump in.
Dude, I tweeted this out the other day. Look, it's free to fork Bitcoin, okay? Anyone could fork Bitcoin. But that's not what they mean by change the code. That means that they want government coercion to force people to run code that they don't want to run. That's what this is about. Because if they were so confident on changing the code and changing it to a fork of which was, whatever friendly, whatever, vision they had, they could fork it and try to convince the public to run your new shitcoin version of Bitcoin. But they can't do that. So what they want is the state to step in and say, hey, I'm going to force you to use something that you don't want to use because climate, because energy, right? That's what this is about, right? That's what it's always been about. And that's why I got so intense during the White House report, because apparently these are your betters. These are the people that are supposed to rule for you, like for the people, by the people. Well, Bitcoin is exposing that it's really by them, for them. It was never for us. And what Bitcoin did was really special because it changed the balance of power. And now it's about what the individual wants. And they don't know what to do about it. So they say climate, they say energy, they say they're trying to throw anything and everything and see what sticks. And they've gotten some success. Like, look at New York State. They banned Bitcoin mining. They're just making themselves poorer. That's fine, right? But don't underestimate these people. And they have very powerful allies, and that includes the current administration that is against Bitcoin proof of work mining. And if they really cared about all of those things, they would facilitate Bitcoin adoption, because it solves basically everything that was there. Human rights, the unincluded. Bitcoin is the most inclusive monetary network the world has ever seen. It gives private property rights to everyone around the world. The problem is, with everything that I just said, is that those rights are not coming from the United Nations. They're not coming from the IMF. They're not coming from the US government. That's the problem here. And this is what I say. It always exposes the incentives. Were these people always for those things? Maybe they were for those things. But they were for those things as long as it's in their terms. It's the United Nations prosperity for all, as long as it's on our terms. If it's not on our terms, then the prosperity doesn't matter, right? So, yeah, man. If you don't run your own Bitcoin node, you're trusting someone else's. Don't trust. Take personal responsibility. Get to decide as an individual what type of Bitcoin software you want to run and what type of Bitcoin software you don't want to run. Are you going to run this like proof of stake Bitcoin that they want for you? If you run your own Bitcoin node, you can tell them to go fuck themselves. And then they're hoping that like every other thing that they've put pressure on, they can capture enough political popularity in order to coerce what they want, right? The problem that they have is that this is a decentralized movement. This is about individuals making their own decisions over their lives, which is why they're having such a hard time doing it. Take a look at communist China. Communist China banned Bitcoin mining. It's still estimated between 10 to 20% of the hash rate is still in China. It's estimated, there was a report that got released, shout out Bitcoin Mag, that out of the top 10, 15 countries with Bitcoin adoption, China's in the top 10. So even with all the coercion, he said Bitcoin bad, Bitcoin illegal, Bitcoin is a threat to, the Chinese people, blah, blah, blah. People didn't give a fuck. And the reason for that is the profit incentive, and Bitcoin gives you hope for a better future. In the fiat world, there was none. You're constantly forced to work harder for less and less money, where in Bitcoin, all you got to do, you got to work, you got to mine fiat, you got to mine Bitcoin, you got to earn Bitcoin, and you just got to sit back, relax, and your purchasing power will increase over time. Therefore, and NVK has this as his handle, I use it all the time, deterministic optimism. Your opportunities just continue to grow over the future, over the long period, over the future, whatever. I fucking lost my train of thought. But going ham today. Anyways, Hal Tarantula, what are your thoughts, brother?
So I get my microphone working there, and my thoughts are moving faster than my mouth can. Honestly, you guys are hitting on all cylinders. You're taking all the words right out of my mouth. The only thing I would add in there is a whole handful of expletive and deletes, because this, it's maddening. You get in deep enough down the rabbit hole, and the system exposes itself quite literally. And once you understand what Bitcoin is, and you end up being able to read between the lines, you can see that it is a direct attack on yourself, as a sovereign individual, and it's absolutely maddening. It makes me very frustrated and upset. But with that, it gives me a fire and a stronger desire to build this out more. So, I'm just to let them know, I will never ever stop. I will always run a node. I will always run behind VPN. I will never ever stop mining. I'll continue to work on alternative sources of energy and try to find things. And there's 1,000 other dudes out there like myself who are down for guerrilla mining. So if they think that there's something they can do about this, they're mistaken, and in a way that they've never been able to fathom before. This is a storm, my friend, and I'll tell you what, it's gonna rage harder than anything that they could ever stand. There's no way that they're gonna succeed long term against this.
100%. We refuse to go back to a system, a slavery system, and we are willing to do what it takes in order to facilitate the future that we all envision. We want freedom. That's what this has always been about. This is about freedom, and nothing they give us will give us that. They will always want to put in a back door to steal through debasement, and they will always want to put a back door to control and censor based on what they think is best. Bitcoin says no. It gives that power back to you. You are your own bank, but only if you run your own node. If you don't, you're at the mercy of whoever node you're using, really. But anyways, check out the meme review.
The Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by Bitbox 2 Bitcoin Only Edition, a hardware wallet by Shift Crypto. Crypto-like cryptography. It's secure, it's open source, and it's so easy your mom can set it up. Self-custody is the revolution, and the Bitbox makes it simple. Do not leave your Bitcoin on an exchange. Order a Bitbox today. Man, so much sauce on today's episode. I literally was getting chills while Tarantula was talking. Let's go. Guys, as you guys know, we say it every day, or at least I try not to butcher it every single day, but tweets are the bullets and memes are the artillery in the memetic warfare that is going on right now. You guys are the frontline soldiers. It is upon you to meme these people to death. It is a propaganda war out there. and we have the truth on our sides. Our memes are better, period. This is uncontentious. Anyways, guys, also put in your meme review score in the chat why we cover this so that we can review them when this is over. Anyways, the first meme is by our buddy Stoic Bitcoiner. He's been killing, or maybe this is Maxi Clubs. I don't know exactly whose is who, but been killing it with these memes in this template. And as we've been showing and illustrating on this show, this meme does it in one meme. Look, I need you to find the difference between these two pictures. We have a man in a suit with the dollars. It goes from gold to fiat. And then we got a play on God Lord Shitcoiner himself, Vitalik, from proof of work to proof of stake. And it's just the simple Bitcoiner. They are the same picture. From gold to fiat, from proof of work to proof of stake. It is the same concept. The next one on this news this morning, I so eloquently put on the Twitter, the state hates you, in regards to them pushing a CBDC. And I really love what Brian Lockhart's tweet is. He goes, hey, cool, government is trying to make my life easier with a digital currency. And we got an NPC with CBDC, yay. And it goes, vulnerability to state and foreign attacks, social credit scores, every transaction is documented, access to your money can be turned off at any moment, frozen funds, convenience. Oh, and he's only looking at the convenience box. Centralization, all your movements and actions are traceable, zero anonymity, cybersecurity attacks, zero privacy, banks have full control of every penny you own. Absolute wrecked NPCs out there thinking CBDCs are good. Do not fall for the propaganda. Bitcoin is the way. This next one is by Holly Berkeley. I really love this because this is this is like the quintessential Bitcoin meme right here. You know, they got people fighting at what looks like a Wendy's or something, and it goes, the Fed should pivot, fighting the Fed should raise rates. And then we got the Bitcoiner just minding his own business, listening to Simply Bitcoin, going, me buying BTC and thinking the Fed shouldn't exist at all. Bars. And then there's next one. Shouts out to Sat Yoshi. Love you, bro. And he's got a play on the Spider-Man meme where, you know, he puts on his glasses and at first it's blurry ETH, and he puts on his glasses only to find out that ETH is Weave coin. Absolutely wrecked out there. I hope you didn't fall for the propaganda, guys. ETH is Weave coin, confirm. ETH is Fed coin, confirm. And then the next one, shouts out to Tony Hoddle or Stacking Sats on Twitter, and he goes, live footage from Z-Merge. And it's a bunch of reptilians saying, and then we told them proof of stake is decentralized, and they are laughing at you. Do not fall for the narrative, guys. And this next one, let me zoom in a little bit here. This is just... First and foremost, I really love the format. You know, it's like a museum vibe. And it's a picture of Adam Back. And it goes with the quote, proof of stake has fundamental problems. And even if it were magically repairable, it would be undesirable, replicating the worst aspects of the fiat political money state. Bars. And this last one, again, to the news about the White House dropping this fact sheet about them trying to use this digital asset buzzword to catch on, make us all look like criminals. I really like what BTC Fiendonot put, or Brian Schmidt 9 on Twitter. Just the Bitcoin logo, and he says, this is not a negotiation. Guys, do not negotiate with terrorists. The real financial terrorists are the powers that be and the central bankers.
Dude,
anyways,
it's because they steal from you, man, and
exactly.
then they tell you
not
they're
a
not doing.
negotiation. Stop stealing from us.
Oh man, this is a peaceful revolution. Opt out. No
Opt out.
fighting, nothing. This is peaceful. This is about taking your financial sovereignty back through Bitcoin. Guys, while we give the memes scores, put it in the live chat so we could read out some of your scores. Anyways,
all right,
Opti.
Nico, I think this is a meme review score first. So breaking. I am giving this my fresh ass boots, yo. Hey,
Opti's fresh ass boots. Tarantula, what would you give those memes?
Well, I guess since we're at the end of the show, I can risk my video not messing up the whole feed. I'm going to have to give the memes this score here.
Hey.
Oh, man. And for our audio listeners, he was showing a water gun. And Nico's score is this. Let's check it out.
Just like the Bible says, it's basically an intergalactic invasion into this space through people. I'm telling you, it's what all the ancients said. It's what they warned of. It's what we're dealing with. They're demons.
Yeah, let's go. Wow, these are epic scores today, guys. Oh my goodness, Nico. That was a solid score. Solid score.
Dude, man, like I don't usually. I usually don't get fucking angry, bro. But the gaslighting, dude, and the fact that they waited till Friday, they didn't even let you respond to it, bro. Like, it is bullshit. You have to call it out for what it is. If they really cared about all of those things, financial inclusion, human rights, whatever, what they should really be doing is pushing Bitcoin. But they will never do that because then they won't get paid. And that's the fucking reality. Anyways, guys, rate the meme in the comments. We got Jason says, my beef jersey wrapper and fist bump. That's it. That's it. I give those memes a prolonged elbow cough. I still don't understand that.
Elbow cough is the YouTube chat. It looks like a dab.
Oh,
that's what everyone does.
I'm giving them an apology for Tarantula.
Double down. Don't apologize.
Yeah. Bunny says, I like them all. The guy focusing on convenience was the best. Z Logic.
Oh, I think I hit it.
I give a score, a Bitcoin node. Very, very good score. And let's see. Why is Nico mad? Nico's mad, yellow, because the inflation. Nico's mad because the inflation. Max bidding.
Z Logic gets it max bidding. Let's go.
All right, last one.
Let's go.
I give those memes 1 of my 2 full nodes. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Anyways, Opti, we got an open source offer release today. Let's check it out.
Bitcoin software release.
Brought to you by CipherSafe. Don't be that person that loses their Bitcoin seed due to fire damage, water damage, dog attacks. Back up your generational Bitcoin wealth on steel. And there's no better place to do it than the Cypher Grid by CipherSafe. And now check out their new Bitcoin art, the Bitcoin Rulux triangle, only on cyphersafe.io.
All right, guys. So for today's software release, we got Phoenix Wallet for Android version 1.4.23, and it's got some fixed issues where payments could not be received from Lightning LND. So, update your wallets, guys. Update your wallets. As we say all the time, you don't have to move fast and break things, but hey, if there's some fixes to your wallets, then definitely update them. Don't have to update your node if you don't want to, though. Let's make that very clear. But, guys, if you like what we're doing here, go listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and if you love the signal we're giving you guys, we are on Fountain, and you can stream us sats. Also, shouts out to everyone that is clipping us from Fountain and sharing that on our Twitter. That's really awesome, guys. We really appreciate it. Anyways, Nico, let's roll this one out, bro.
Yeah, before we go, I want to give a very special shout out to our awesome clothing sponsor, RepresentLTD.com. Opti and I wear the hoodies every single day. They're comfy, they're stylish. Check that out. Represent LTD. I'm wearing the black version of his sweater. Totally didn't plan it. It's stylish. It's comfortable. He's wearing the orange pill as well. He's making Bitcoin merch. He's making Simply Bitcoin merch. Definitely check out representltd.com, and you can take advantage of the promo code to get 10% off. Anyways, I also want to give a shout out to our awesome guest, Hodl Tarantula. Thank you for coming today. It's usually not so fucking fire and intense and whatever. Like I said, I'm just really pissed off they waited until Friday, and I'm really pissed off with a lot of the wording because they're in search of another solution as long as it's not Bitcoin, because Bitcoin doesn't help them. And that kind of defeats the entire purpose of government. Isn't government for the people, by the people? Isn't that why we pay taxes? Right? Isn't that the whole premise of government, that they're there to serve us? What that report really showed to me is that they're there to serve themselves, and that has me a little bit heated today. Anyways,
Verified.
Tarantula, where can people find you, my bro?
Talking shit on Twitter.
What's your handle, brother?
At Hodl Tarantula.
At Hodl Tarantula. All right, man. Thanks for joining us today, bro. Appreciate it. Love to have you back on the show again in the future. Anyways, guys, I also want to give a very special shout out to our awesome Telegram group. You can visit it by www.t.me/the Simply Bitcoin channel. It's absolutely free. You could link us Bitcoin memes to review there, and then Opti will put them on the meme review. Definitely join it. It's a bunch of crazy plebs. It's awesome. Definitely go into the conspiracy stuff a lot, though. You're being warned, but it's still fucking epic. And of course, check out Simply Bitcoin Unfiltered. You can go there it's absolutely free as well. Go to www.simplybitcoin.news. It's the written version of this show. Check out our awesome fucking writers, Rustin, Zach, Weinekiss, and Opti and I, of course, we're not much writers. We do the TV part. But anyways, check out simplybitcoin.news. And also check out our new show. It's called The Wake Up Call. It's by our host, Rustin. He's freaking awesome. It's the Simply Bitcoin news in 5 minutes or less. Also absolutely free. Guys, we love you. We'll see you tomorrow for the Saturday special. Saturday specials are absolutely insane. So there's going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see you guys tomorrow at the same time, 12:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you guys later.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best.